We are here with another of our top earner interviews, and today we have a person who's a member of our Next Level Mastermind. He lives in Dallas, Texas.
Yep.
He's a member of the $1 Million Hall of Fame. He's been a top earner for many, many years inside of network marketing. Jefferson Santos, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks, Eric. Appreciate you having me.
It's nice to have you.
Yeah, man, this is great.
Here in our studios in Las Vegas. And I know of your success and I know of your accomplishments, 60 countries around the world and, over 1 million customers and earned a lot of money, best-selling author, great family life, all these different types of things. But what I don't know is where you came from. So tell me about who you are, where you came from early in your life. Well, first of all, what were you like as a kid?
Bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, excited about life.
Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Dallas, Texas.
Okay.
And parents are from Brazil. And my parents divorced when I was about 4 years old.
So you're Brazilian.
Mm-hmm.
You look Brazilian now that you
Thanks.
say that. You do. I mean, I know a bunch of guys down there, and there is a look.
Yeah, there's a lot of Santoses down there and a lot of Jeffersons down there. It's
really?
It's like John. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. So anyway, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed. They're from Brazil. What were their professions? What did they do?
So my dad started as a baggage handler for Braniff Airlines back in the day. He just started when they came over, and my mother, she was a bookkeeper.
Okay.
And she had a high school education. They divorced when I was about 4. And so my mother raised my sister and I. She had 3 jobs, working really hard to put food on the table. And one of the craziest things is she would always say money's hard to make. And so what that did to, my GPS, my financial GPS, is it programmed that, and obviously had to unprogram that and reprogram something differently, with the trainings and the CDs, MP3s, all of that. Back then, tapes.
Well, what caused you to think about reprogramming that?
Well,
some people would just accept it, and you have a choice, right?
We were at the grocery store, and I'm always, as a kid, going through the toy aisle. I'm darting the toy aisle. What's going on over there? I love airplanes and stuff. So I go there. I ask my mom. I go, "Can I have a toy?" And she said, "No." And obviously we can't afford it. And I'd heard that a gazillion times. And something happened inside of me. Like I kind of imploded. Something kind of snapped. Not in a like external kind of way, but just inside. I got real quiet and just like I got really mad and frustrated that why can't we buy that we want, or this, $3 can of beans versus 30-cent can of beans. All these things are going through my head. Then when school would start every September, I'd ask my friends, "Hey, what did you do for the summertime?" "Oh, my parents took me to Hawaii. My parents took me to Mexico." I'm like, "What?" I just hung out at the apartment complex pool. So I started to see that separation and just difference in contrast between what my life was and what their life was. And it was just back then interesting to me. It was just weird.
And at what age did you say, "I want something different"? Do you think?
I think I didn't know what success was. I just knew we didn't have it. It was around 9 or 10 when I was just seeing the differences and stuff.
And you have a sister?
I have a sister.
And it's older or younger?
Older. I got two older half brothers, a sister, biological sister, then 2 younger half brothers. But I just call them brothers.
I understand.
Exactly. Yeah.
So at the time, you have an older sister, and what's she thinking?
She was busy, with her friends. She was, 4 years older than me. So she was in the cool bubble and I wasn't, kind of thing. But she was doing figure skating, and she was doing the whole, she made it to regionals and then nationals. Wow, she'd go to Lincoln, Nebraska, and she would do figure skating up there. Not the one where you jump, but the one where you go over you trace the lines type stuff. But she was doing that. And so I got in a little bit of that for like a year just to kind of try that as I don't know if I was like 6 years old or something, but it was cool to see my sister doing that and going after something.
So you have this desire, you kind of, how'd you do in school?
I did pretty good.
Yeah.
But my first goal, I asked my dad, I go, "Dad, I want to fly airplanes." He's like, "Well, you got to get in one of the military academies. You got to go to the Air Force Academy." And I'm like, "Okay, what do I got to do to go there?" He's like, "Well, you got to get straight A's." Boom, there it is. First goal. Get straight A's, fly planes, right? So I just locked in right there. This is about like 7th grade. and just honors roll, seventh, getting A's and stuff
Really?
like that. And and that was like my first kind of push for that. And then what was crazy is I didn't know about the West Point or about the Naval Academy. And so then I started finding out about those schools as well. And so what was really cool is that, coming up to senior year, Naval Academy looked at me. I went to take a visit. I'd take the, SAT and the ACT, all that stuff. You have to get a congressional appointment to get there. So I was able to be accepted to the U.S. Naval Academy, which is a huge blessing. Yeah, so I was able to go there.
So you went to U.S. Naval Academy. I didn't know about this.
Yeah.
So you excelled in high school, something I didn't do at all. I barely escaped high school. You get accepted to this prestigious thing. I went to community college for one semester and dropped out. So it shows you all different backgrounds can find a way to make it. It's not always just the loser that had nowhere to go that ends up in network marketing. Sometimes it's the winner that has all the choices. So you end up in the Naval Academy. And what was that like?
It's crazy. So think about this. I'm going from civilian life to military life. I'm going from living at home my whole life to now 2,000
How proud
miles
was your
away.
dad?
He was proud.
He had to be
Very proud. He
Mom
went.
too?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
He went with me when I my first day where they take all our clothes off and shave our heads and boot camp, and it was crazy. But it was amazing because I go from, you have to grow up really quick, because I go from civilian life to military life. I go living at home to now living somewhere else 2,000 miles away, and I go from playing high school football in Texas, which is a big deal, to Division 1A college football.
Oh, so you were playing football too?
And then taking 18 credit hours in the semester, which is a full load.
Yeah.
It was nuts. And so you got 3 upperclassmen kind of kicking your butt all freshman year. So you don't have time to breathe or think about anything. It was nuts.
Unbelievable. So Texas football is a big deal. What position did you play?
I played receiver and special teams.
So you're quick.
Yeah, I was quick.
And you were also playing football for the Naval Academy? Wow.
Yeah. And it was my
same,
way.
Same position?
It was my way of being part of the cool kids, because
Sure.
I had the high water pants and the off-brand clothes. And my mom couldn't afford this and that, so I'm just like, well, if I can be a good athlete, maybe I can be part of the cool kids club. And so I was kind of part of the athlete guys. But the interesting part is I was always friends with the studious academic people, and then I was also friends with the athletes. I was kind of like the diplomat, right? I was always just kind of everybody's friend.
So you can handle this like extreme rigid discipline thing, and I always wondered how I would survive in a military environment, because I think I'd always be arguing in my mind. Like, I don't think getting up at 4 a.m. isn't, there's scientific studies that say this is probably not good for you. But you kind of, you learn to accept everything pretty quick, right?
Yeah, I was one of those kids. I was never the smartest kid in school. I was never the fastest kid on the team, whether it was track or football.
But you're driven.
But I was driven, and it was the collective compounding of always, doing the strength shoes. And remember the East Bay catalog? I don't know if you remember that. It was like you'd buy parachutes and running stuff. I was always trying to do that stuff to try to get an edge and do some extra workouts, because I wasn't talented, but I needed to compete. And that's what kind of got me into able to play college football.
Talk to me about what's one thing that was really valuable to you about the Naval Academy experience?
It's dealing with a lot of pressure and having to remember things and do things and trust your training, right? And so when pressure's on, okay, if you're trained, the training is going to come out and you're going to do it right. But if you didn't train properly, you didn't learn the base and the foundation, and you're under pressure, you're going to crack, you're going to go AWOL, you're going to go crazy.
So learning how to handle pressure. So pressure is not a bad thing.
No, I mean, obviously.
Stress is not a bad thing, so long as you kind of choose what that pressure means.
Exactly. Like, eustress is the good stress we put on ourselves to go for a goal or rank, whatever. And then obviously distress is the stuff that is not good or healthy for us.
But you're in distress too during that environment. And then you decided to handle it. Some people don't, they drop out.
Yeah. And I did. I didn't drop out. I transferred out, but I didn't stay there all 4 years.
How long?
2 years.
Okay. And where did you transfer to?
Texas Christian University, TCU in Fort Worth, Texas.
Okay.
Yeah.
And why?
I got the entrepreneur bug, and
What gave you the entrepreneur bug?
I just, it was funny. There was a substitute teacher. It was a Lieutenant JG that was drawing some circles on a chalkboard. After class, say, hey, if you want to, he was talking about Spark.
Okay.
Hell is Avocare. You talk about Spark, because they were selling it at the midshipman place, because everybody there's lack of sleep. We ain't getting any sleep over there, right? So like that was like the main thing that they came out with, and that was there, and like the thing, and that's what they were selling. And I was just, it kind of intrigued me. And then one of the other things is they accused me of plagiarism on one of my papers. And one of the things was just really interesting because I was kind of like CB student in writing, and then I did pretty good on a paper. They couldn't prove it. They have the honor board, which is all good, but one of the things they said is like, well, if you admit to doing it, you can go 6 months of probation and you'll be back on the thing. But I didn't do it. But so it was a very struggling time, because it was like the first thing my dad was proud of me about. And now I got to go tell my dad that I don't want to stay there anymore. And I'm so glad that I went through that experience though. And, but it was kind of like one of those things where if you don't believe me, then maybe I'm not supposed to be here then. Right. Because, okay, let's say I go graduate and it's time to get a flight billet. I want to get on the carrier, fly planes, do the Top Gun thing, right? Well, they go, well, back when you're a sophomore, this happened. Right. And now I'm stuck on a submarine or on a frigate or something. I don't want to. That was my brain doing that. Right. I'm sure I could have been fine, but I was like, you know what? I'm a sophomore now. I can actually think, because I don't have 3 upperclassmen kicking my butt every day. Now I'm thinking about my life and where do I really want to go? I still want to fly planes. I love travel. I love all that. Maybe there's another way I can do it. And so
you transfer out. You go back to Texas, and then you finish your college there. Do you play football there too?
Yeah, I walked on. All the scholarships were done. Walked on there. I was already obviously I would be becoming a junior when I got there. So they said, well, since it's your first time there, you need to come in with a freshman 2 days earlier before 2 days and do drills for 2 days. So I go, all right, so in my head, I need to lead the drills, and they need to know who Santos is. Right. Because I'm walking on. I ain't even nobody going over there right now. We had one of the coaches that was at the Naval Academy that came from TCU to Naval Academy that put in a word. So they kind of knew who I was, but they didn't know who I was. So I had to get in there and I had to start over and reestablish who I was again.
So just grind.
Yeah.
From 7th grade, grind, go to get this. Well, get a little disillusioned, get that, having to start over. You finish all this stuff. You finally get through school. Somebody drew some circles. Did you join network marketing at the time?
Yeah, so let me backtrack real quick. So 4th, 5th, and 6th grade, all through junior high school, lost. Every team I was a part of, we had a losing record. I was a pretty good athlete. We had some other good athletes, but you got to work as a team, right, to win. And then we go to as a Naval Academy, we had a losing record there. The year I left there, they won a bowl game.
Nah.
So I didn't get the bowl ring.
Sucks.
So then I'm at TCU. And when in my time that I transferred from Naval Academy to TCU, my mother tells me about network marketing. And I see it for the second time. Like I actually see it.
So you saw the circles the first time.
Yes.
And it sparked your imagination, but you didn't take any action.
Right.
Then your mom introduces you. Okay. So did you join at the time?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what was that like?
It was awesome.
And how long ago was this?
This was 96.
96.
96.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you look younger than the numbers are adding up.
I know. I'm 44.
Okay. So 96, you say, okay, let me try this thing out. So what was the experience like?
I didn't do well. I was excited. I went to the trainings, but I didn't enroll any customers or anything. But basically my first 2 years in network marketing, I only brought on like 3 customers.
What were you doing for money at the time?
I was valeting cars at nice restaurants. Smelling the leather of the nice cars and just imagining and envisioning and all that. And every time I'm driving back and forth from TCU to Dallas, I live in the athletic dorms, but a lot of times on weekends I'd drive back. I'd listen to Jim Rome and Les Brown and Brian Tracy and all those guys, because right after that first company, I think my third thing I was trying was TPN.
Wow,
you and Jeff, yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, so end of 96.
For those watching or listening, I had started a company with another gentleman called TPN, the People's Network, in Dallas, Texas. It was a personal development satellite television network, and we had all the personal development leaders in the world inside of that television station.
Mm-hmm.
It was exciting. I mean, when I look back at it, it was a really, really hard business model. It was really, really tough for people to be able to make
Because people
money.
don't think they need personal development.
It was so tough. I mean, I learned personal development is actually pretty small. It's big inside of network marketing, but it's pretty small in the world. And at the time, I mean, we thought it was big and bold and everything, and it was pretty small. But it was like summer camp for me to be able to spend time with my heroes, you know, the Jim Rohns and the Les Browns and the Brian Tracys and Dennis Waitley's and all these different people was just like a dream. So you were involved in that.
Mm-hmm.
You make any money?
Mm-hmm. A little bit.
A little bit?
A little bit, yeah. And I remember going to trainings.
Who'd you work with? Who's your upline?
I was in Anna Marie Sadowski's group, which I think was part of Darren Hardy's group.
Got it.
Yeah, yeah. And I met Darren back in the day.
Sure.
Over there in Addison several times and all that.
Sure.
Which is crazy.
Become very successful. It's fun to see.
Yeah, but I would always show up to trainings by myself or a couple of people. But you know, I shared this the other day on a Zoom. I was like, I always walked up to the front row to expect there'd be a seat somewhere because a lot of people come in 2s and 3s. There's always a seat with like a bunch of stuff on it, and I would just walk straight up and expect a front row seat, and I would usually get one. So it was just me and the trainer because I'm like, I'm going to figure this out. I don't know how. And those stories on stage of the people's stories was the energy and the recharge that I needed to go another 30 days. Right. And that was my lifeline.
Right.
Is those events, right? And it was just so key.
So fast forward, when did you find your company that you're with now?
2005. Kind of helped start it with my best friend and a few other partners. But so between, and I met him
15 years ago.
15 years ago. And
you
9
were 29
months,
at the time?
29. Yeah.
Young
Good
buck.
math. Yeah. So 9 months after I got started in network marketing is when I met Wayne. And so, but I always tell people, it's like,
what a great guy.
I was 20, he was 28 at the time. He was already making multiple 7 figures, you know, in network marketing. But I tell people, I go, just because you meet your mentor doesn't mean you just add water and you're instantly successful. I had to go through my learning curve. And so you're looking at, so after all the losings in football, and then when I left TCU, they won a bowl game. So I didn't get the bowl ring.
Come on.
Right. So I missed 2 bowl rings, right? So then I get started in network marketing and struggled for almost 9 years.
Really?
Yeah. For almost 9 years. So it was about 2003 and a half, almost 2004 is when I started to make like a 6-figure a year income.
Okay. So what do you mean 2003, 2004?
That's when I started to make 6 figures in network marketing.
Okay.
Because I struggled, because I started when I started in 96.
But you joined your company that you're with now, 2005?
Yes.
And walk me through the progression of income for those first, you know, how'd you do in 2005?
2005 was about 300,000.
Okay, so you had a big boost.
Big boost. Because I'd literally got everything wrong out of my system, like what not to do and all that stuff.
And you'd gone through kind of your education.
Yeah.
And you knew what to do, what not to do.
And I had to get really good at reinventing myself because I was part of the double NFL, you know, no friends left, no funds left type of thing, right? I had some funds, but it was one of those things where I had to, you know, learn the 3-foot rule.
People think that the NFL, the No Friends Left Club means something. You know, it's like this little cliche inside. Somebody's been around network marketing and they've talked to everybody or whatever. It's not true. It's not true at all. Not even close. If you learn the skills in network marketing, you never have to worry about money for the rest of your life. You never have to worry about finding people to talk to. You never have to worry about cash flow. You never have to worry about anything.
Yep.
And people say, well, you know, if you get with a company and that company goes out of business, well, then your reputation's destroyed and you can't ever build something. Not true.
Yeah.
I can point you to 1,000 different people that had their reputations absolutely trashed or made mistakes.
Yeah.
And decided to reinvent themselves. And because they had the skills, they were able to build it.
Yep.
So same thing's true.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, if you don't have money, it doesn't matter. If you have skills, you're good. If you don't have a big network, it doesn't matter. If you have the skills and the desire, you're good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So same thing's true with you and true with everybody else. So you had some success and you built this thing up over the course of the last 15 years. And today it's huge, right?
Yeah, it's amazing. And so that first year, 300,000, the second year, like a little over 600, and then third year, a little over 700. And then I think by the time I got to like the fifth or sixth year, then I broke seven figures. And then it's been like that ever since. And, obviously because of our training system that we have and the great leaders on my team, it's
great training, great people.
Yeah, it's been, my wife and I have been on over 200 trips. Every month we're traveling somewhere, taking the kids or not taking the kids.
Right.
And it's that stuff that you read in the books about network marketing that you've always wanted to have for yourself. It's finally happening.
Sure.
Right. And it's been happening for a while now.
Right.
Right. And it's like, wow, it is true. Because I'm sure you did this too. You play with your calculator. Well, if I told this many people, and we did I would do that for, so many times through the years, imagining what if I could just have a section of people on my team at this training? What if I can have a row? What if this whole arena could be on my team? And now it's just, when I go to Europe, it's like the whole arena. They go to Asia, it's just, I pinch myself. And I'm really aware of pinching myself and going, okay,
being appreciative.
Being appreciative because, the whole, bitter billionaire, bitter millionaire thing. It's like we've all met people that they make a lot of money, but they're not happy.
Right.
And one of my really good friends, Kim, she talks about inner peace, outer abundance. And it's like there's a lot of people out there with inner peace, but they may be spiritual but broke. Right. And they may have people with outer abundance, but they have no inner peace. Yeah. It's like how can we do both? And so we have a lot of, in our culture and our team, we have a lot of that philosophy that we want to do both. We want to enjoy our lives, right? Even my buddy Wayne, he's always the poster child for that.
Yeah. You have to. I think so many people love these different cliches, and one of the cliches is you can't be happy if you're wealthy. Tough for a rich person to get into heaven.
Right.
You know what I mean? And all this stuff, all these miserable millionaires.
Right.
And most of the thing is they're chasing the wrong thing. They're doing it just for the income. And if you get the income without meaning, without purpose, without contribution, it is empty. You get the money and it's not fun.
Yeah.
For me, what I've told people for forever is two things need to be present in my life for me to be happy and content and fulfilled. One side is growth. I have to be growing. I have to have something coming in. And the other side is contribution. I have to be giving something out. I have to be helping, making a difference in the world. And if I don't have both, if I'm just growing and I'm not contributing, I'm restless. If I'm contributing and I'm not growing, I'm restless. Going through the motions.
Yeah.
So I have to have both all the time. And I think the same thing's true here. Network marketing provides this vehicle to be able to have all that expression and positive environment. So long as you choose the meaning of the different, as you go up higher, you have to deal with more politics and, you have to deal with people taking shots at you here and there. And you got to deal with some challenges. You have to develop some new muscles, getting at a high level, but that's part of growing, part of getting stronger. It's things that used to just knock me on my ass 20 years ago. I couldn't recover for a month. Then it was a week it would bug me, and then it was a day that it would bug me, then it was an hour that it would bug me, and then it doesn't bug me.
Yeah.
Just let it go. But it takes time to develop that muscle.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah, for sure.
So tell me tell me the story of your family. When did you meet your wife?
I met my wife through our company. She was long distance.
Me too.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's great, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
So she was in Minneapolis. She's from Montana, but she was living in Minneapolis.
Minneapolis?
Yeah.
My hometown.
Yep.
Where in Minneapolis, specifically?
She was in Wayzata area.
Get out of here. For real? Yeah. I grew up in Orono. Yeah. I went to Orono High School.
You know Bones Point?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
But there's Bones Point, and she's talking off camera here. Bones Point is what's literally, I lived in Crystal Bay.
Yeah. Oh
so really close. Wow. My first job was at Paul's Landing, Sailor's World. You know where that is in Crystal Bay?
Small world.
Yeah, so weird. You're a Wayzata girl. So you're like a preppy girl. Kinda.
I grew up in Montana.
Okay.
From Minneapolis.
Okay. So those of you probably can't hear this because she's off camera. But anyway, so she's a Minnesota girl, and she's working in your company, and you guys meet. When was this?
This was in 2010.
Okay.
Yeah, 2010, and then a couple leaders on my team, they knew her, and we knew each other, and they kind of connected us, and we started talking, and our first conversation was 3 hours over the phone.
Was she cross-line?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
All right.
3 hours over the phone, and then we just started talking, and then 9 months later, I moved her down, and then proposed.
Nice.
Yeah.
Now you have 2 kids?
2 little boys.
How old are they?
They are 8 and 6 right now.
8 and 6.
And it's a fun age. I just kind of got them
They're
into
the best.
Yeah, we just took them to a NASCAR race for the very first time, and they're like, "What?"
Freaking
like it's
out, huh?
crazy. Yeah, they love that.
Who's
right
their
now.
driver?
It's between Ryan Blaney and Chase.
Because
Chase Elliott.
I've never been to a NASCAR race, but what I heard is when you go, you have to have a driver. You have to wear their stuff. You got to
It's fun. It's just fun. It's kind of like you go to the horse races. You got a horse. You got to have a
you
couple.
gotta have,
Yeah.
if you're not wearing something, you're not fitting in.
Yeah, every question I get, like, you guys got a driver? I was like, oh, well, we're here
Right?
for the first time. That was the first
That's
question
what
they're asking
everybody
us.
says. Like, who are you with?
Yeah.
And you go into the bathroom and the person says, "Oh, you're with my guy," or whatever. It's this whole camaraderie thing.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But it's interesting, they draft each other, right? There's all the analogies with that race.
Sure.
It's pretty cool. Yeah.
So you built this nice family, built this nice life. I'm going to ask you some network marketing questions, okay?
Yeah.
I think success leaves clues, and you've after lots of fits and starts, finally found your groove, built this big thing, contributed to the world. What's your favorite thing about network marketing?
I think it's teaching. For me, it's teaching, seeing the impact of teaching, and seeing someone that first day they got started to then seeing them, on a trip, or seeing them on stage. Just seeing that transformation is really fun, because what really motivates me is, how can I shorten someone's learning curve?
Yeah.
I know that everybody's got to go through what they go through to grow, but man, I went through a lot of stuff. And if I could just help somebody do it a little bit shorter.
And if they'll listen.
Yes, exactly. If they'll listen.
I think in some ways we're similar. I would have given anything for somebody to just listen, and teach me how to do what they're doing. Like, let me just soak it all up. You know what I mean? I had to work to get somebody's attention.
Yeah.
And now, it's like the mentors have to convince the mentees to listen.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's like, what in the world? So if somebody's hungry, I think that's the biggest thing. If they're hungry, and I'm a big believer, I believe that time machines actually exist. And the best time machines are books, mentors, masterminds, coaches, where you can spend time with a coach or a teacher, mentor, and you're 6 months smarter without being 6 months older. Spend time in a mastermind, you're 12 months smarter without being 12 months older, whatever. So I'm a big believer in that. I still am today. So teaching, I'm a teacher at heart. What's your least favorite thing about network marketing? Be honest. What's something that's just like, it's annoying?
I think it's getting people to believe they can do it.
People thinking small?
Man, that's a great question.
Yeah.
I mean, you mean like just like all like out of the whole thing, or just like a tactical thing?
Whatever comes to mind. I mean, it's just like, what's one thing, if you could wave a magic wand and you could change it because it's annoying?
Yeah, I guess getting over people's skepticism.
Yeah.
Of network marketing still.
Yeah.
Because now you have people on the internet with
being
their rented
judged.
Yeah, with their rented cars and rented planes, saying I can do all this stuff, and then you get people like, well, do I got to buy a this and to talk to you finally down the road? It's just all that stuff, But now it's like you can educate them if you could put content out and educate them, you can get past that. But it's that part of, if you're really looking for something, it's like, why are you asking me that kind of question right now? Like the prospect asking me that kind of question right now. If they're really looking for something, they need to be open. And there's open people out there, but it's the people that get tainted. I guess they're coming in with that tainted mindset already, or they're already burnt toast. Right. And they're coming in like, well, it's already burnt toast, man. I'm not going to convince you anyway. And you just have to kind of like say next. right? But that would be something, I guess, getting over that skepticism part, getting people to get over that. If they would just listen, it would be a more fun experience. But you know what? That's what makes us better. We just figure out ways to create that validation and credibility.
If everybody
for the industry.
accepted it, they wouldn't pay us all the big money.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm a big believer in defining moments. You define the moment, or the moment defines you. This time where literally you hit a crossroads, you could go this way, you can go that way. And you have to make a choice.
Yeah.
And that moment defines your career, and you can only really tell a defining moment looking back. This was a moment that really mattered. And so as I'm describing that to you, I'm sure that there's one or two that came to mind, popped into your head. Tell me about one or two of those defining moments.
So this is January 24, 2004. I'm at a seminar in New York. It's a blizzard outside, and it was a Danny Johnson event. And at that seminar, they had us stand up and put our hands around the steering wheel and just white knuckle it. And started telling us, every one of you, you're trying to control your business too much. And everybody go like this, boom. And I got goosebumps. And she's like, you need to let go and let God. And that just hit me. I'm like, I'm trying to control everything in my life. I'm trying to control my business. I'm trying to control my prospects. I'm trying to control my team and all this stuff. And that just hit me. And then there was one other thing that happened is there was a book called God at Work. And it's like people are anointed to be kings in the marketplace or priests. And I was like, okay. So in the book, it was talking about, and this is being talked about at that same seminar. And what was happening is all these big business people were making all this money, and they thought they kind of got to the end, right? Like, what do I do now? Well, let me go lead a church. They go try to lead a church, doors would close. Go back to business, flourish. Go try to lead a church, doors would close. So they were anointed to be kings in the marketplace. And so what happened for me, this connection of it was, I call it my Optimus Prime moment for you Transformers fans. It was like I finally realized why I wanted to be successful. I think I was afraid of success, is what was going to happen if I was going to make all this money? Was I going to do all this crazy stuff? And what they said from stage was, there's all these things that influence the world. And the church has gone down the top 20, below the top 20. So all these celebrities and athletes and all these people that make a lot of money are at the top. So you need to go learn these skills so you can make a lot of money so you can do good things in the world. So when good people make money, good things happen. When bad people make money, bad things happen. So all of a sudden, all that kind of gelled together at that moment. And I realized, okay, I'm a king in the marketplace. I'm going to go do and build. And for me, God's everywhere. And that was just me. And that just clicked for me. And that was my defining moment. And so my come from was different because I wanted to make money. So I looked at everybody as a dollar sign, kind of like everybody looks like a steak when you're hungry kind of thing. And my come from changed. And it was like, okay, that's my come from now. I'm going to go help people, which sounds cliche, but that wasn't my mindset. I was like, go, let's make sales, rough around the edges. But now I was realizing, so when I started calling the few people I had on my team, they go, you sound different.
Yeah.
You walk different. You sound like, it was just from that point forward. And that was about 7 months before we started our current company.
So you mentioned God a couple times just in these last couple defining moments. So I'm guessing your faith has been an important part.
Huge.
So how and why?
That's a great question. I mean, to me, it's the ultimate. It's when you look at, for me, I know how I get to heaven is through Jesus Christ. That's what I know. And I'm not pushing it on anybody.
Yeah.
But what's beautiful about network marketing, from a believer's perspective, is that we get to impact people's lives, and they see what people do. Is I get to share my testimony when people ask, how'd you do it? I get to share that story, and some people, they're ready in their life to hear something like that, and some people aren't, right? But for me, I mean, faith is huge.
Does it become part of your ministry in a way?
Yeah, it's like a marketplace ministry.
I've never heard that term, marketplace ministry.
Yeah, and so
you know what's interesting is like network marketing gives people an excuse to hang out with each other. So while you're hanging out, you've got an opportunity to rub off on people positively.
In a big way, yeah. And I wasn't, I went to FCA.
Do you think your team is faith-based?
I would say most of them are.
Hmm.
At some point, well, I know most of them. They know like there's a higher power.
Sure.
They know there's something.
Right.
But the ones that are
I'm not even saying necessarily religious.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, do you think it's kind of woven into the culture of your team?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I mean, when I do a lot of my some of my keynotes, it's weaving the stuff in there. It's the stuff from the good book, right? And if they're believers and they know what I'm talking about, if they're non-believers, they go, "That's great stuff,"
right?
Because it's all truth,
right?
And I'm not any expert. I can't quote all these verses or whatever, but it's just that base of that foundation. It's like if there was a manual for life, I mean, there it is. Why not read it, right?
Yeah. So talk to me about. We talk about all the positive all the time. Give me a bad day, last 15 years, really bad day in your business. Emotional, tough, dark, whatever. What was happening in that bad day and what did you do about it?
I think for me, when there's someone I care about in the team that doesn't want to be on the team anymore, it sucks because you care about them, you love them, you've done trips with them or events with them and all these things, and they decide to go a different direction, and that it just sucks, And it's like, T.D. Jakes says it best: those who stayed could, those who left could not stay, those who stayed could not leave, right? Mm-hmm. And that's what happens, and it's like you start going through your head, what did I not do? What did I not say? Was there something I could have done or to prevent them? And you know what? Probably not. And how I got over it is I forgive them, I bless them, and I release them. Not that it sounds so easy.
Why did you need to forgive them in this circumstance?
Why did I forgive them?
Why did you need to?
Well, because in my head,
were they leaving? Was it a betrayal, or was it they're just done? They were giving up.
I would say the worst ones would be sort of betrayal.
Like they leave, join another company,
start talking
trash about you.
Yeah, and or my friends and all that stuff. And so it's like, because forgiving is something that you do from the inside to unlock yourself to be free, right? It's really not for them. And so it's like, if I'm going to get on as a leader, right? As a leader, if we're leading out front, we're going to have knives in the back, because they don't see what we see. And we're gonna do things that they don't understand, and so they're gonna say things about us. So the forgiveness muscle has to be really strong, and not like I just walk like, oh, I'm just forgiving everybody. It is something you walk in. Sure. That you have to when you have people on your team, because they're growing too, and they're going through their stuff, so that's something that I had to forgive, bless, and release. What took a little bit, but it was something that I got better at over time, and we have to get better at that as leaders.
Yeah, one thing I learned about forgiveness. Is forgiving somebody doesn't mean that they still have access in your life.
Right.
That you can forgive them, but sometimes people have a negative influence, and there needs to be a boundary in order to be able to do it. That doesn't mean you haven't forgiven them. You have.
Right.
But you need to respect yourself and have a boundary, and they just inhabit a different orbit. It's farther out from your core.
Yeah.
Than if they hadn't betrayed that thing, or if they hadn't done that thing. That's been helpful for me, just to protect myself sometimes from somebody. When you get a big betrayal, forgiveness is hard and forgetting is harder. But the big thing is to not let it rent space in your brain and not let it harden your heart. Because if it changes your heart, then you've really lost.
Yeah.
I'm not trusting anybody ever again.
Yeah.
Tell me something that you're proud of. Give me something that, what? I'm proud of that in your network marketing career.
Man, there's a lot. And in my network marketing career, Well, I'm proud of making 7 figures. I'm proud of finally getting the bowl ring that I didn't get.
Yeah.
For the other, the other
Let me see
schools
that
I
ring.
was at.
Take it up. I want to see it. Look at that, man.
And so I had to help a lot of people. I had to be in a lot of living rooms, a lot of Zooms, a lot of conference calls, late night, early, to earn something like that. And it means a lot more to me than a bowl ring from a team.
For real, right? How cool is that?
Yeah. And there's one other thing too is we got our good friends that introduced my wife and I. They had 7 businesses when I first met them, and they had no children. And when they got around the culture, they saw that there was other professionals making money in network marketing and having kids. And so they ended up having 2 kids. And so now they have 2 children that they wouldn't have had if they didn't join our company and team up with us. So it's just really beautiful to see that and seeing their life grow and everything like that too. So it's been amazing.
Well, I will tell you, I'm proud of you, and I'm proud of you for a couple different reasons. But the biggest one is the impact, because
Thank you.
When you've impacted by your choices, your decisions, you're facing your fears, you're doing things that were uncomfortable, 1 million people. And the impact is just beginning. The impact of the decisions you've made to people that you may never meet, probably will never meet, will happen beyond your lifetime. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. You a big reader?
Yes.
And give me 3 books that have had an impact on your career.
Think and Grow Rich, obviously. How to Win Friends and Influence People. Rich Dad, Poor Dad. A lot of the John C. Maxwell books.
Yep,
Developing a Leader Within You,
Mm-hmm.
Developing Leaders Around You, the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, the 17 Indispensable Laws of Teamwork.
Yep.
I mean, there's just all that stuff. I just get into that. It's just like, because as leaders, we got to know how to think, and that's really, really key. And we got to stay on top of that. And we're always growing as leaders, right? We're never finished.
Yeah.
But I enjoy that. I do a lot of audiobooks now too, doing cardio and doing other things too. But I enjoy it. But I still like the actual physical book where I can highlight and take some notes and dog ear and all that too.
Are you still an athlete?
Yes.
And do you still compete in anything?
No competition anymore or anything. We work out. My wife and I just worked out this morning. Keep fit. We run. I do. Just mainly weight workouts now. Sure. But nothing competitive wise right now. Yeah. Yeah. But it feels good to because that body mind connection is so key to keep our brain fresh and our body and be stretched and all that stuff, because it's all connected, right? The hip bone's connected to the knee bone type thing, right? We're all there, and if we're going to serve our teams and our people the best way, we got to be mentally sharp. We have to have the stamina and the energy to make that last call. Right. Or, hey, I need somebody you got to meet real quick. You got to have, a little energy in the tank, and that takes a little extra work, in the mornings or eating right or whatever. And yeah.
What's next for you? I mean, what's the next mountain? What's the next achievement that you're looking for? What's the next accomplishment that you're aiming for? What's the next goal?
Well, 2 things. Number 1, more of the same. But that's a good thing. Not that it's taking that what I've gotten good at and just getting it better, which means I got to go build new teams. I'm working on the 3rd, hitting the top rank in the company for the 3rd time right now, and just enjoying my family and creating those memories. I mean, I'll take video. B-roll video and all kinds of video of us going to NASCAR. Then I'll give it to my video guy. I'll put a little recap together. So we get a recap of every little thing that we do, and it's fun. Like I'm having a blast just doing that. So now we can look back as a family 5 years, 10 years, 20, 30 years from now, and just look back at all those little recap videos of all of our little get-togethers and trips and things like that. So I'm just, I'm the family videographer sometimes too, if we don't have our camera guy with us or something.
Love it.
It's fun.
Love it.
Yeah.
Well, it's great having you in our Next Level Mastermind. Let me conclude by asking you one last question. What advice do you have for people that want what you have?
My advice would be to stick with it. That in the dark days in the winter times that the spring's going to come, and something's got to suck sometimes, and you got to embrace the suck, like they say in the military. And one of the things that nothing great's ever built overnight, nothing great's ever been easy because everybody would have it, kind of thing, right? And it's like, listen, we're all human beings, we're not robots, and we're going to have those paper cuts, and we're going to have those sprained ankles, and we're going to have just the things that are like, why does that happen to me right now? Like, why? All these things are going to happen, and it's because that you're out there forging a new territory for you and your team in your life, and you have to go against the resistance. Like, what's the author's name? The Art of War, or the War of Art? The War of Art.
Sun Tzu?
No. Not the. Messed that one up. I'll repeat that again. Golly, it slipped my mind. It's the opposite of Sun Tzu. It's the War of Art.
Okay.
But in that book, The War of Art, he talks about you have to understand there's always going to be a resistance. No matter the harder you go, that resistance is going to get a little harder. And that's how planes fly. That's how kites fly, right? And nobody's going to watch a movie in the box office that is making all the money if there's no main character that goes through some sort of a story twist to where now he's got to save the damsel in distress from the dragon at the top of the mountain. There's going to have to be some sort of resistance. And so we all have a dragon we have to battle every day. It could be self-doubt. It could be, all these different things. For me, it was self-doubt, but it's like, how do you deal with it and quiet it down and just, do it anyway? Have the courage, because I think that in order to get more confidence in yourself, you have to do the activity. In order to do the activity and get the new capability, you have to display that courage. And courage sucks. It doesn't feel good. Courage is like wetting your pants and doing it anyway. Feel the fear and doing it anyway, right?
Right.
Like the Florence Scovel Shin book, right? You got to do it. But what happens when you get on the other side of that is you get a new skill, you get a new capability. You have this new confidence. And so I'm standing here, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years ahead of you that are listening right now. And I made it because I stuck with it and I didn't quit. And I fired myself and hired myself again the next day, that whole thing, right? And I just did it. And that's what you have to do.
Yeah. Jefferson Santos, thank you for your contribution. Thank you for what you're doing. And thank you for what you're going to do. You're going to keep impacting people around the world. I appreciate you sharing your wisdom with us.
You bet, buddy. Thank you. Appreciate you.
It was a pleasure.
Thanks.
That's it, everybody. We'll see you next time.